There's a moment after the connection, after the intensity, after the confusion, and after everything that you thought it was, where something shifts and you realize this was never just about them. Because even if they leave, even if it ends, even if nothing becomes of it, something in you has changed. And it doesn't go back, because this is the part of the journey that people don't talk about enough. Not the connection itself, but what it has awakened within you. And in this video, we're going to talk about what the awakening actually is, why it happens after intense connections, and why this may be the real purpose of everything that you experienced. Okay? Because the connection may have been the beginning, but it was never the destination. You see, after this kind of connection, you don't see things the same way anymore. And you become more aware of your patterns, your emotions, your reactions. Things that once kind of felt normal start to feel misaligned. You notice where you've been settling, where you've been ignoring yourself, or where you've been operating unconsciously. And even if you try to go back, you can't fully unsee it. And that's the awakening. It's not dramatic, it's subtle, but it is permanent. You see, the connection didn't just bring you closer to someone else, it brought you closer to yourself, because intensity breaks through resistance. It bypasses your usual defenses and it exposes what's underneath: your fears, your desires, your wounds, your truth. And once those things are exposed, they don't just disappear when the connection changes, they stay with you as awareness, and awareness changes everything. And there is a discomfort of seeing clearly, because awakening isn't always peaceful. Sometimes it's uncomfortable, because now you see things that you didn't see before. You see where you were chasing, even if you thought you weren't, where you were losing yourself, and where you were holding on to something that wasn't aligned. And that can feel like grief, not for the person, but for the version of you that didn't know, because awareness remains illusion. I said that wrong. What I really mean is it's because awareness removes illusion. Sorry. And without the illusion, you're left with truth, because the detachment that begins as this awareness really deepens, something starts to shift. You begin to detach. You're not in a cold or disconnected way. It's very clear to you that you have detached, though. You start to see the reality of the situation, the patterns that you were playing out, the difference between feeling and truth. And slowly, the emotional intensity starts to soften, not because you don't care, but because you understand, and understanding creates space. Then you begin this return to yourself, because this is where the journey becomes real. Because now it's no longer about what they're doing, whether they'll come back, what the connection means. Now it's about your boundaries, your self worth, your alignment. And you start asking, what actually feels right for me? What do I truly need? What am I no longer willing to accept? And those questions bring you back to yourself. So I can honestly say, in my situation, maybe it's different for you guys, and I would love to hear you guys' story. I never had a real connection. Like, we started off acquaintances. There was never any, hey, I like you, none of that. Um, it was kind of, yeah, just acquaintances. And then, like, of course, I was going through the eternal pull, from a divine feminine perspective, like I went through the shifts, the roller coasters, the feeling like I was drowning in a flood. Like, it, there was times I felt like I was drowning. There was times I felt like I was a phoenix being reborn over and over and over again. But in the end, I saw his position that, like I used to tell people, he probably thought I was cuckoo for Cocoa Puff. So this is where we're actually kind of looking at the journey itself and from my perspective. To I've started to see his purpose and his role in this, and I started looking at his silence as, okay, what is he showing me? Whenever he said this, what did that really mean? So I started doing the over analyzing, but from a different perspective. I wasn't, what hidden meaning is there? What does he really mean? Like, is he calling me his twin? Is he agreeing? Is he disagreeing? Because that was the validation I needed. And I started looking at, okay, what does this mean? What am I feeling? When I read this, what do I feel internally? And what does it point me to? And I really started looking at the mirror a little bit different. And now, I have a very deep level of respect for him. I won't say that we're friends, but we are on a very calm atmosphere between the two of us. He never blocked me. I know I've talked to a lot of you guys, and you guys said that they blocked you. He never did. So I will be honest with you guys. I blocked him multiple times, and I'd come back because the intensity was just so much, and I couldn't focus on the journey. And I was really trying to break away from that because I didn't want to keep being in the cycle. And sometimes feminines, you do have to do that. But past that now, like I can give things with no expectation of anything in return. And it's just very calm. So if you haven't been blocked and if you're still in it, it is very hard. You're going to keep going back because you're going to need that thimble of existence around them to learn how to coexist without the intensity. So it's very rough, guys, I promise you, but you can get through this. But if you've gone through a connection that changed you, the twin flame journey, listen, guys, even if it didn't last, if you did get a relationship or something out of that with them, even if it didn't become what you thought, like me, it wasn't meaningless is the point, guys, because the awakening that followed, this is something that you carry forward, and it's not in pain, but it's definitely in clarity. You're going to step into a version of yourself that is scary. Like, I can't hang out with the same people anymore. If I do, like, I mean, I could have lunch with them, things like that. I can sit down and have a conversation, but like, I can't hang out with them anymore because their direction and my direction is completely same, like different. If you isolate the way that I did, these are just some tips for you guys here at the end of this video. If you have isolated like I did, it's going to be very hard, guys, to step back into the world, to be seen. When I gained weight during my journey because I isolated so much. And now that I'm stepping back out into the world, I'm having to work on that, and I'm doing it by myself. So if I actually go to the gym instead of working out at home, I'm allowing myself to be seen in a position where I don't exactly feel comfortable, but I'm trusting the process. If that makes sense to you guys, you're going to have moments like that. So if this resonated with you guys, I want you to comment down below. I'm becoming more aware. And if you want to share your story, we would love to hear it. There are people who, are listening, people who read the comments and things like that. Share your journey with us. And if you're in this phase right now where you're trying to trust the process and see it beyond the connection, and you're trying to get out of the loop is what I'm trying to say. You're trying to break the cycle. I want you to know that if you're in that phase right now, I want you to trust it. You're not losing anything, I promise you. You're going to be seeing it clearly. If you guys have any questions, if you want to know more about my story, if you want to share your story privately, you can reach out to me. There's a link in the description. There's a link in my bio, guys. Reach out to me. Talk to me if you're interested in getting on the private Awakening to, the Awakening to Sacred Divinity page, because I do actually have a private Facebook group. Reach out to me. Let me know. I can get you added in there. But other than that, guys, I will see you guys in the next video. Stay strong. You guys have got this.